Well, Father David Ross is here, and he's a reader, and he's going to talk about the book that he brought today about George Washington and the Constitution. And you said you don't want to spoil it, but I mean, kind of, don't we know the history with Washington and the start of the country and stuff like that? Are you finding out some new stuff?
Oh, yeah, I found a lot of new stuff. I didn't realize it was as much. The first thing that, I don't know if it impressed me, but it made an impression upon me was how much acrimony there was in the early days of the country. So this book focuses on three elements of Washington's life. First, as the general for the Continental Army. Secondly, he was the president of the Constitutional Convention. And then finally, of course, he was the president. But there are things, you know, that I learned in this book that just sort of amazed me. How much, for example, Alexander Hamilton and Jefferson despised each other. And I'm thinking, you know, nothing has really changed in this country. Nothing has really changed. I mean, as much acrimony as we hear today, it's just like it was back then. But you know, the one thing I did not observe in this book, as I was reading it, was, do you know what an ad hominem attack is? Instead of attacking a person's ideas, we attack the person, and the person himself, or herself for that matter. And as I read this book, I did not notice there was that much of an ad hominem atmosphere used in those days. Ad hominem means to the man. There was not that much of an atmosphere. They did respect people. And there was a time in this country, for example, and there's supposed to be, let's say in the legislative bodies, when you respect the persons there, you may disagree with them. And my what do they say in Congress? My good friend from Massachusetts or something like that. Well, it's devolving into something where they call them names every, you know, not only in the Congress, but at the other place too.
It's become too personal. That's what
it is.
They're attacking the person, and like you said, not the ideas.
Not the ideas. So in the Constitutional Convention, for example, I found it fascinating that they were attacking each other's ideas. So, for example, after Washington came into power, George Washington came into power, and he was they called him in the interim a president, but some wanted to call him His Highness. And so then you'd get people like Madison, for example, who thought it was just absolutely horrendous because we just got out of the monarchy when they ran away from the king, so to speak, and they wanted to start this all over, this new experiment, and they had some vigorous debates. But I like the book because, first of all, I'm not all that intelligent. It was easy to read. It was
That's good, yes.
It's good that I'm not intelligent?
No, it's not. Easy to read books, that's always good, especially when it comes down to history, because I think people are afraid of history.
Yeah.
So if it's easy to read, you'll learn some neat facts and things.
And I find the author, Mr. Baer, he takes a very, it's not nuanced, but he takes a very balanced position. You know, what is he does on Fox? He's a broadcaster.
Yeah, he's a commentator, has a show, I think.
On Fox, of all places.
I know, Fox, imagine.
Imagine.
Don't get started.
Don't get started. What better place to start than here?
But he does a good job, huh?
Yes, he did a fine job. Now, sometimes I wonder if he didn't have a ghostwriter, because didn't they put somebody else down there? I'm not sure.
Oh,
but what's his name? Hannity used to have not Hannity, but what was his name? Anyway, Bill
O'Reilly has help.
Oh, he had a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just found it a good book. And what amazed me too is if you look at the visage, the face of George Washington. Now, do you know, I knew somebody who looked exactly like him. Believe it or not. And a lot of these people online will recognize Father Howe of happy memory. He died.
Oh, yeah.
One of my predecessors. His face looks just like him.
Now that you say that, I see that.
You know, it looks just like him. And I thought, oh, what amazing. And of course, he didn't have hair like he did, but,
no.
you know,
Well,
he's going to set a new style.
Those are all wigs, though, right?
They're going to set a new style, I'm telling you.
Well, it's neat to learn more of these facts. And like you said, it kind of just reminds you that the start of the country wasn't easy either. When you're looking at politics now, that's just kind of the way it has.
You know, that's the way it's going to, as it was in the beginning, is now, and never shall be, you know, so that was my motto. So you're going to use that anyway.
All right. Well, thank you, Father, for coming today. Tell us about the book. All right, don't go away. Noon Edition continues in a moment.